5:01, so it's time to start our work session today. So, first item on the list is discussion items and West Colby Promenade.
Can I just move to switch the order of these? I'd like to talk about the educational info proposal first. I think that's the quickest one. This person did a conservation stewardship through the MSU extension, and part of her capstone project was to do something for conservation and the environment. And what she came up with, the final idea was, when you're looking at the walkway from Covell Park into White River, she wants to make a sign that has like educational info for like species, whether it's birds, frogs, whatever, to display for people that are walking by, just so they can be educated on what they're looking at. So that was her. She did this as a volunteer, and she's just requesting funds to make a sign. So that is.
And that's looking up into the Celery Flats area, correct?
Yes. Well, wait, yeah, upriver. Yes.
Mayor, question. So does she have a placement? Does she have a drawing and a design?
She's going to be doing all that. She's just looking to see how much effort to put into it, if it's going to be something that's supported or not, I believe. I can ask her for a rendering.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. I'd just like to see the ideas that they have.
Something more concrete.
It was very helpful to have the design information for the community garden, because I think we could see very clearly that what she was thinking about.
Remember to talk into your mics too, because there's some people can't.
I moved it just for the
Perfect.
We know anything about what the sign's made out of, or what her plans are?
Her plans are to design, and she's just doing it out of, she's a new resident to Michigan, and that's why she took this extension program, and it's just something like a nice to do type thing. And as far as the sign goes, it's just gonna be one similar to, I think it's Mill Pond Creek Park, where there's an educational info about the species. It's similar to that. And it would just be affixed to like the railing. Or I would actually have to work with DPW to figure out the best placement for it, but that's really it.
You can feel welcome to give her my phone number. I was a part of, a lot of the White Lake restoration efforts and the EPA habitat projects. It'd be nice if we could kind of make the signs consistent with the other ones. But also, I can probably hook her up to some folks and maybe give her some ideas.
Okay.
As you know, I'm working on the White Lake Environmental History for a book right now, and working with Dr. Rick Radisky, and he's going to be doing a geology piece on how the lakes were carved, in the glacier period, and I don't know, but I know she wants to do species, but there's probably some people I can connect her with.
She's very positive and just wants to do something nice.
Nice.
So I'll ask her for somewhat of a mock-up drawing and give her your information, and then I'll just present at the next council meeting. That makes sense?
Yeah, I just have has she done any fundraising at all? I mean, it doesn't seem like she's asking for a ton of money, but it seems like it could be a pretty easy fundraiser too.
Not that I'm aware of. I can see if she's done anything.
That, and we also have the Cole Park Fund from the Muskegon County Community Fund.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That'd be a good one to tap if she's going to look at doing this. Just put in an application, tell her what she's going to do, and if we write a letter of support, that's going to go a long ways to help them get that grant. So
okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's a Cole Park Fund.
Through Muskegon
I
Community.
think it's through the foundation now, isn't it?
I think so.
Because I think the last thing we got was the telescope.
Community Foundation from Muskegon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I
they
think-
hold
But
that
it's
fund.
but it's special fund, yeah,
Yeah.
Cobble Park, and I think it's inclusive to Cobble Park, so.
Cool.
That'd be a good source to tap, I think.
All right. Okay, that's easy enough. It's not a today thing anyway. Okay, the next thing was the senior millage allocation update. Tanya sent the report out to everybody and kind of seen what we did for the past year. And the way it was done last year, survey was sent out. The senior committee looked at that and requested proposals. The proposals came in from Agewell, the White Lake Senior Center, and the VAC, and they all provided reports on the statistics of what that millage generated. So Tanya, if you want to.
Sure, and the report is a lot of a reminder of what we already did, because I know that you probably don't have all that memorized, and we have enough senior folks as well. So I set up an ad hoc senior millage group last year. First meeting was in June. You can see the mission and goals that we had. I got hold of everybody I thought who was a senior. One was not. That was unfortunate. Sorry. And we met for about 10 months. And Scott was on it, former city council members, and we heard from Agewell to see what their services were, because council had said, hey, could you get some of the services from the, southern end of the county up here. We heard from Senior Resources. We looked at the annual report of all of the different things that municipalities did, just quite an array. And then we decided to do a survey. So we developed a survey. We had it at City Council or City Hall chambers. We had it online, and it was compiled, and then you see the results. Once we did the survey, we met a number of times. We brought the potential providers to us for a big meeting. We brought them back because the committee had questions. And then my goal as the chair of it was to try to wrangle some consensus, because there were some differing views. So what you see is what we decided, and then what I presented to you last March. And we voted on it the second meeting, or the last council meeting in March. And then the allocation was made. Now keep in mind that was kind of late, because the county millage goes October to October. And then our budget is, of course, July, I think. Or June to June.
Close enough.
Yeah, and so when we finished in March, it was already into the year. So we provided the funding, and then I realized October we got our new allotment of money, approximately the same. I reached out to the committee and said, what do you want to do? You want to keep it the same? I have to admit, I was kind of leaning in that direction, considering we had done quite a bit of work right up to last March. The survey should still suffice, and all of the meetings and discussions that we had. And then I asked providers to say what they did with the money, but also given, recognizing that not all of them have spent the money yet. For example, the senior center is going to have their second senior dinner in March coming up. But my goal is to kind of get this moving, because we need to disperse the money. So, and just keep in mind too, the 1,000 that we said, I'm not sure was probably spent because of the transition, but one of the top things that came out of the survey was people didn't know the existing services. And so, if we can, my thought was to have a web page where there could be links to the different senior places, and then allow the providers and others to, provide events to the newsletter. So there were comments, I didn't put people's names by them, I just put them out here for you to see.
So a question, so thanks for the summary and the reminder of all the work.
Yeah.
It looks like there are a summary of comments and then we can't decide, so you choose. Is that, I mean, have you?
No, it's not the committee's decision, it's council.
I know, but I thought the committee was making recommendations and it looks like maybe there was not a way to do that, or, I mean, have you guys gotten back together since the first?
No. I told them I'm available for one short meeting, but I met with these folks for 10 months, we met for 10 months, I'm kind
That's good.
of, I'm ready to pass the torch. And these are some of the same things that came up before.
So is there, I guess is there a recommendation this time?
No, I just want you to see, maybe you want me to go back to the committee, maybe you want me to have a meeting, I would agree to one meeting. But I can't get into a lengthy situation
Wow.
again. And honestly, my feeling is that we did a lot of the work already. And I'm just not, I do think it warrants a discussion related to the questions regarding the VAC. There were other questions about that before, and we, Scott and CJ Weir, Van Weeren, am I saying that right?
Yes.
Had thought about getting together to, talk about, just having a little better connection. That didn't happen because of the transition that we had. I think it's important. And there were even people last year who said, I'd like to see if we could, for the city or the VAC or somehow, we could use the VAC more because some people told me it was expensive for a family to join. So, and then the other thing is that once we had quite a media firestorm, and so once that happened, I did have a lot of people in the community. They kind of glared at me and said, "I use the VAC," and I'm like, "Okay, I wasn't saying that I didn't want to fund it myself. I was just trying to come to consensus with everybody, and there's a lot of different views." We don't have to decide, at the formal meeting later. On the other hand, I'm not sure how you all feel that you want to go. My recommendation personally, this is mine, not the committee's, is I would like to just go with we've got. Some of them still haven't spent some of their money. I mean, the people who are getting the money obviously are putting senior services on. The VAC is, Age Well, definitely that they need is up. They get other funds, but any funds that they can have to do more non-medical transport and Meals on Wheels up here is good. The senior center, they said they would do more programs, do the senior dinner.
So to understand what was said today, kind of following you, the options are if we like what has been happening.
Yeah.
But if not, there's possible new stuff, so you would have to go back to create that. So when it comes time, if everyone likes what's happening now, and we're good to go, correct?
Well, we probably need to make a decision sooner rather than later. We got the allotment in October. And it goes October to October, so.
Okay, so.
I guess one of the questions I would have going forward, I mean, I'm hoping that this continues on and it's something we get every year, but what is the process for deciding who gets and how much and all of that kind of stuff? That's what that's what I thought was gonna come out of the committee is from here. There are potentially other organizations that could
We
benefit
looked
from
into
them.
that though.
I understand, but what's the process? So if the process is, okay, we got the money now, what do we do with it?
Well,
I'm not sure what process came out of the committee. You guys did it, like you said, spent a ton of time getting a survey, getting the information, putting it all together, and that was all great for the first shot at it. But I feel a little like, oh, but now what do we do going forward?
I have some
Go
insight.
ahead.
Well, also, just to reboot, we didn't have any process from 2021 on.
I
The
know,
only
that's why I
reason-
thought that was part of what we were working on with this. Maybe that was
No,
a
not necessarily.
misunderstanding. But that's what I thought.
Well, and the process was we met with the senior folks. We found out what else was going on. We did the survey. We looked at the survey, we brought providers in twice, and then we discussed it. So that's the process.
And then is that a one and done and we're not gonna do another survey? We're not gonna continue to get information? I guess,
I
what's
probably wouldn't do another survey. We did the survey last fall. I don't think things have changed.
I don't think I'm
So,
expressing my
There,
question.
we received
Clearly.
proposals. We as in the
We asked
city,
for proposals.
like there must have been a solicitation, granted, it's way before my time, but
Yeah,
I did review 4 or 5
Yeah.
proposals that came in from some of these existing agencies, and they were reviewed. That's what the committee.
Scott asked me to solicit proposals. I'm not sure that was really an appropriate role for me, but I asked all of the providers to provide proposals, and then we met with them. I mean, there's all kinds of things we could do, but one thing I wanna mention is that nobody else that I'm aware of did anything like we did. Basically, the boards just make the decision. So the process is there. I'm not willing to do it again. It was a lot of free time and I don't have that this coming year.
What is the allotment this year, any idea?
It's right around 17.
Pretty close to the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I could weigh in and just throw my idea out there, I think that in view of the hard feelings that were developed last year that you referred to with the school, I would just assume, I would just assume give the $10,000 to the school rather than $9,000. That's what they had asked for last year. If you look at what we've given the school in the past, we're significantly below that. I mean, I wish we could give more money to all of them because they're all good causes. But I go to the back probably 3 times a week. It is used a lot. And, there's some upkeep with that. They're having to sweep the gym floors and they're having to repaint. And a while back, they actually, the small gym where they play pickleball most of the time was cushioned. Well, they bought cushions and put that around so that nobody got injured running into a wall at pickleball, which was a big expense. And I also go to the senior center about once a week, and that's a very important thing too. I wish we could give them a lot more too, because I'm guessing that they probably have about 7,000 visits a year at the senior center based on what I see. Maybe it's more than that.
But I'm just not sure that that organization can use the money as quickly, because I mean, they still have 500.
They still have some and more.
Okay.
Well, and I think too, I mean, and the hard feelings that happened weren't, I'm not gonna get into it, it wasn't because of the senior committee at all. It was, and to be fair, it was a challenge for the committee to get answers to questions. It just seemed like the number was arbitrary. And then we had people who also said, well, how is this facility funded? And then I talked to other area townships and some of them are not participating. So not everybody does participate. So it's kind of a mixed bag. And I myself am firmly in the camp of keeping the 1,000 with the city because we need a web page for seniors because they said we don't know what's going on. So
I think we can do that for a lot less. I would love to see it more in the senior activities. 'Cause I think the staff can absorb that.
well, I
I would
don't know.
love to.
I guess I feel like the school is getting the lion's share. So I'm probably not going to be willing to give them more.
But the people from the other townships that don't participate,
Yeah.
they all have to pay each time in, I believe. I don't know if it's $1 or $2. It's not a lot. Is it 5? Okay, well then it is a lot.
Well, they seem to manage fine on 9,000, so, I would like to have a conversation about how better it is funded, I mean, not how better, how, we still have questions about how it's funded, so I would like to move that into like the first quarter of 2026 so that we're more ready for that allotment, but, I, myself, I'm not willing to lead the effort this year. We had goals, we had meeting agendas, we had reports. I don't know any other municipality where they've had a committee do that.
Is there anybody on the committee that might be willing to take it over and carry it on? Because I think it's valuable work, and it would certainly be, I would appreciate input each year on where they thought the need might be.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that for sure.
I stayed up late with this one.
Just a couple comments, if I may. Based on the total visits of the seniors from the City of Whitehall, it basically costs us $1.50 for each of those visits, rather than the $5 to them. So I'll say it creates a huge discount for us to continue to support the VAC, and also a huge discount to the seniors that take advantage of it. But in thinking about what you were talking about, the continuing process, some of these others, they have things that they want to do, they want to accomplish for the year. Would it be potentially a place where we could say, this is a grant, you apply, how much do you want, what are you going to do with this money? And then we can, each year, this board would look at that and see, okay, I like this, or they're not gonna provide enough for what they're asking for, and we're gonna reject that. So a grant, treating the senior millage like a grant may be an option.
Well, and one thing to consider is that there's nothing stopping us from a city for setting aside some of our money to maybe matching that. Really, $17,000 is not a lot of money. We don't have a whole lot to work with, and so probably simpler the better. But I think and then keep in mind some of these folks do get other funds, the Whitley Community Fund and different things.
Tax dollars.
Pardon?
Our tax dollars.
Yeah.
The school already taxes us. I mean, they built a VAC and got approved. And I understand that, but that was all the school and that passed through us. And I understand what it was about. I like it. I think it's great, but
Well, I think
they're getting a lot of money out of the citizens of the White Lake area already to run that.
Yeah,
Well,
I think there's been
That's for
questions and I'm not sure they're really answered.
Yeah, but I paid school taxes every year, twice a year, that covers the school, that makes the school budget, which should include that building.
so if you follow the money, I don't pay tax there, I'm just kind of explaining, playing devil's advocate, I'm not advocating one or the other. But it's, to keep the VAC open beyond when students need it, you're diverting money from students or from the school. If they only keep it open during when students need it, totally understand, but they don't, and I don't know if they want to look at that or not, but that's not up for us. The tax or the original bond, I believe, was just for the construction, not the operating.
If it was,
That came up in the senior.
if it was just for the students that use the facility, they wouldn't need to have a full-time staff person there checking people in and out and that kind of thing. That's a very expensive proposition for the school. It's a full-time employee, 7 days a week.
Multiple, probably.
But they do have facilities that rent iMove and different things like that, that's some income in there. I just, it would be helpful, I think, to at least answer some of the questions that were in the comments from the committee. Even though we kind of asked those last year too.
Were you suggesting earlier that we should discuss this again in January?
No.
No? Okay. I thought you did.
No, what I was suggesting is this would just be my take, and I think, honestly, I just think we spent 10 months on a process, a survey, we had a mission and goals, we met with folks. To redo all of that right now, to me does not make sense because we made the decision in March for the 2024-25 allotment. So I feel like we wrangled a decision at that point. You know, maybe we could make that decision go for the, you know, to the next October, and in the meantime, address some of these questions that have come up. And if people want to have other ideas, I mean, there's a wealth of ideas. I mean, there's so many things that's, you know, there's a whole lot of things people are doing.
What I'd like to do, if I can, it doesn't feel like we've gotten to an ending point here, but we're gonna be talking about the promenade, which is gonna take, I think, probably a fair amount of time to discuss. Do you think we should move on, or do you?
Oh, sure, unless people have questions. I just,
Can we come up with a consensus real quick, I guess?
Do we need to right now? We're not making a decision today, are we?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, I think.
I would recommend those sooner rather than later, just because we were late last time.
Okay.
Nice to get the money out to folks.
Okay, sorry, we moving on. Are we moving on?
I think so.
Okay. All right, so the West Colby Promenade project, I sent you all an email letting you know I was putting this back on the work session. So I think it's important because I want to make sure, and Brian Newhoff wants to make sure, everyone on staff wants to make sure that we're delivering the vision that the city wants for this project. Right now, it's a natural gathering location with a plaza at the bottom of tiered seating. And there's a couple ADA compliant walkways, you know, connecting Goodrich Park to downtown area. So it's pretty, like, say, idle, or not a lot of activity that we're pushing onto it. Took out the bathrooms, took out the shade sail, and taking out the shade sail took out some infrastructure that, you know, some council members want, and others say, good, we're saving money. So I'd like to just talk about this again, gather some consensus on what you all envision this downtown park being, so I can help Brian Newhoff design it, and we can all, like, enjoy it at the end rather than have it being you know, not what anyone envisioned.
Well, I think part of it is, and this is late to the game person who now is throwing wrenches everywhere. The bathroom thing, which when we said, well, we'll instead of spending the money there, we'll spend the money on the ones that are already there at Goodrich Park. Then we find out that is, to do that correctly, is the same price tag. And
that's the expansion.
The expansion. And you know, I talked with Roger mentioned last time about talking to the people. What does staff say? And they talk about how busy it is down there, and going down to the two doors. The family comes down to use the splash pad, and they go in there to change, and they're in there for 10 or 15 minutes. Then you're down to one. And there's a problem, it's already backed up sometimes in the summer already, so that the importance of the other bathroom on the other side was a big deal to the DPW when it was being created. So, and the price tag, which was similar for the expansion, I think we need to look at possibly going back and at least putting that thing in, instead of having a rolling, like, porta potty or something like that. Just doing what was there in the first place might be the best bet to serve all that's needed down there.
I didn't think about the change room. That would be an easy fix down there on the side, just to make changing rooms kind of like what back in the day when mom and dad went up to Silver Lake State Park, they had just the changing room. You know, all you need is a bench and a door, essentially, which would keep people out of that bathroom. But I agree with you with the bathroom after discussing it and talking. I think the bathroom would probably be a good idea. The shade sail, as far as I'm concerned, we can find some smaller ones, kind of like what's, like Deb was talking about for her husband, with, you need something to keep the people that play music and do whatever down there, keep them cool as well. And I think we could look at something similar to what is at the splash pad, the big blue sail that's there. I think that's probably a little cheaper than what they were envisioning. Dan and I talked about the stage. I think flat concrete would be fine. I don't think an elevated stage, because now you gotta meet ADA requirements for that and everything else.
Well, and when you have the raised,
Yeah.
kind of like the terrace seat.
Yeah, the seats are already there, so yeah.
It seems like it with flat space would be
Yeah.
more usable for other things.
And yeah, if you have a big event, you've got more room to spread out. Yeah. So yeah, after contemplating it, yeah, the bathroom probably would be a good idea to bring back. Now, I don't know if I would do the same thing as we were discussing before, a male-female, or just do a family style, a couple, 3, whatever it takes in there, multi-use by whoever.
We don't care, just wash your hands.
Yeah, exactly. A family style restroom, or that has the changing tables and everything else that everybody can.
Would it be possible just to go back to what was there in the original proposal and not have to worry about redoing anything? And then leaving Goodrich to, I believe it was stated last time, where you can just put new fixtures in and paint it.
Yeah, and I was looking at adding glass block too. So yeah, I've got that for
To make that more usable without getting into this, but then still have.
Yeah, that's regardless. I need to make that a better package.
And quite honestly, a change room wouldn't need a roof on it. Just need walls and high enough so, high as the walls are there. I mean, unless, type of thing, so, a couple doors. If that's what we wanted to do down the road, because I didn't think about the people on the
That's a
change
good
room
idea.
stuff.
Although I always make my grandsons just wear their suit.
Yeah, a lot of people do, but it must be a
Yeah,
lot
I
of people
didn't-
don't. So.
I didn't, that's just a little more formal for
Mm.
Would we, I would like the Goodrich bathrooms really done a whole lot better though.
Regardless, I've got that.
So,
Yeah.
so we got the Pride and Newhoff guy here. I'm assuming that's the gentleman back here. Are there any cheaper styles of bathrooms that could be put in there that would still perform like we needed to? Or I'm assuming this is a freestanding structure block, the whole 9 yards, kind of like what's over at Goodrich.
Yeah, we had our architect design it, and it is it's a freestanding building, of course. It's got storage in it. I don't know if you looked at the plans, and a couple of family restrooms.
Yeah, we haven't seen any plans as far as what it even looks like. So I mean, we're going blind on this, what it even entails. So
I don't even see where the stage is at on this picture.
Don't call it a stage, because it's not staged.
Well, that's what that
You
is.
don't want the stage? If it's short enough, we don't like.
it's just flat.
If it's short,
It's just flat.
It's just flat.
are you sure?
Yes, it's flat.
The restroom
That's
storage.
always been my take.
Activities
Right here.
Activity center.
Okay.
It's in the original plan.
Okay.
So that's the restroom storage right there.
So 1, 2, and then storage.
Yeah.
And we need storage for the stuff down
That's
there.
a- yes.
We gotta have stuff placed.
Here's, yeah.
Talk about being new to the picture. I mean, you have this and I haven't seen this.
Or me.
Well, that's a lot of storage.
But you figure depending on what's gonna be down there.
No, that's what I mean. It's,
Yeah,
that would be
it wasn't an
I think
egg.
that, I mean, the idea of just.
We didn't know about the storage. I mean, that was.
Cheaper to be cheaper.
Yeah.
I would say just build it the way they did it and
Yeah.
peace.
Oh, here he comes.
I only have
You
two
can show them
drawings. I
design.
didn't bring it up to share with everybody. There's some color on this, but so this is a drawing that we put together in response to some of the comments that we got back from Dan about making some changes. So I'll try to hold this up maybe this long. So this is Lake Street right here. All right, so you can barely see that off the left-hand side of this page. The colored figures on here, this is a grass area that would be constructed so that food trucks could drive up into there and access these spaces that are labeled 1, 2, and 3 in red for food trucks. And the reason for having kind of a layout for food trucks is so that we could provide power to them, so we don't have generators running during an event. That was something that Dan.
So you're talking like essentially almost like a concrete block turned on end, and you fill it in with grass and
Drivable grass.
drivable grass.
Right. So yeah, and then this would be concrete. So this is the area that shows the storage in the restroom.
Yeah.
I think the storage is on the Colby Street or Thompson side of that rectangle, and the restrooms are on the left hand side, if you will. The change with the stage was located close to the logo that you see here in this circle, approximately where my finger's at, and that would kind of cut off part of it, and then that would have shade sail above it. And that stage is about like your stage here, maybe a little bit higher. I think we said it was a foot, right, Colin?
Correct.
So that's, I guess, from my understanding, the things that really need to be discussed are whether we're going to include the stage, and if it has shade to it, and the restroom, because we want to make sure that when we're finished, like Dan said, when we're finished, that we're all on the same page and we're all excited that it's done and it's beautiful, it's what we want. Otherwise, we have this moving target because it's been designed, it's been bid, it's been awarded, and now we've told the contractor
Hang on a minute.
mixed messages, like we're going to delete the restroom, we're going to add the restroom, we're going to delete the stage, we're going to add the stage. They don't know what we're going to do right now, so.
For me, this is okay, so right now I see a restroom that's a rectangle. That doesn't answer the question of, is it gonna look like an outhouse lean-to thing like nobody wants? Or is it going to be something pretty that people are like, okay, well, that's a bathroom, you know, what is it?
Pretty restroom.
But yeah, I mean, you know where
Here's
I'm
the
going.
side.
That's what she used to do.
Use your fingers, expand it, contract it.
Looks like the one up in the pocket park.
As of the music.
Is there a deal for
Yes.
I have no idea. What are the dimensions of this concrete pad?
This,
What degree is?
It is,
For you guys to play, is it big
I
enough?
see it 20 feet.
well, that's the also part of it might be nice that it's flat. If there's a little bit that has to extend over into the grass, you can without having to fall off.
Right, but it,
I mean, you can't, I'm not sure you can, there are gonna be potentially bands that are huge and really big, so you can't build it. for
So we could
everybody.
have, so just going back to the restroom, we could have a rendering put together so you can see what it's gonna look like. I have architectural drawings here that are black and white, of course. They're not rendered, they're not, I mean, they're prepared to make a contractor build it the way we want to, right? So it's not prepared to,
It's not prepared.
for, so I don't know if this is gonna be helpful or not, but these are the 4 different elevations
Well,
of
that would be
the,
helpful. That's what you
of the
would-
drawing.
showing you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you-
I don't mean to trump you, I'm just saying I have.
Oh, that's great.
Looking at all this stuff right here.
I didn't come prepared to show this part, 'cause I didn't know what kind of questions we were gonna get, so. So I don't know, like how to walk through here, but, so there's the west elevation, which is the,
Do you want me to hold that for you?
that would be awesome.
Hold that for you.
This is great. And I'm not the architect either, by the way. We do all the site work, we had an architect draw these, so this is the west elevation, I'm assuming these are the entrances to the restroom. You can see it's got a flat roof on it, the slight taper. That's the east elevation, so that would be from the Colby Street or Thompson Street side. And then looks like we have drinking fountains and bottle filling station on the south side. And this is the north side that I'm assuming is the entrance to the storage area.
So entrance is that, you said that's the west, so that's looking at the lake.
Correct. Like I said, we could render this. So you
So
can
how
see
close
what
to
it
that?
looks like. Well, similar, only it's going to have a flat roof on it, as you can see here. and a little bit different finishes around the outside, and I can't really speak so much to the finishes because I honestly did not pick those out.
Because that versus a flat roof kind of goes with the marina and everything else, but
Yeah, that was that flat piece is not aesthetically
that,
pleasing.
that
but
one looks
I don't
that
know.
one looks a little bit better than that one, quite honestly. But
Well, it looks like a building instead of a.
No, fair use
Shit.
color, we did.
yeah,
I can see the design, but
and we can change colors. I mean,
Oh, nice.
but that's up. That's the one.
Yeah, and
that's
we
up-
could have all these finishes rendered so you can see what it's
Yeah.
going to look like, and we can still make those changes. Of course.
That's
is
the one
there
that's up
a,
in
is
the-
there a design reason for a flat roof versus a, what do you call that, hip roof?
Yeah, I don't even have to talk to our architect. I'm sure honestly, it's probably out of it.
Nice
Cost
thing,
consciousness.
nice thing about a metal roof, too, folks, is good.
One and done,
Yep.
basically,
Yep.
in our lifetime.
Yep.
Probably.
It's got that little-
You're the most expensive easel I've ever seen.
Do you want to replace it?
He was a tree when he was in fourth grade.
Yeah.
We paid the diesel.
Can't distract.
Hey Colin, do you know what the roof
I would
is?
rather see
Is it a metal roof? I'm
That's more
assuming.
of a theme.
Yeah.
than a flat roof.
So it's a metal roof too.
You guys good?
This one, yeah, this is metal, pre-finished metal roof.
Let's do what I can.
Yeah.
Block off the view here.
Thank you.
You did great.
It looks like
That
a,
looks decent.
yes, I agree.
Wasn't working very well.
I don't like the flat roof. I wanna peek through it. Like the picture.
And this is probably Prime Newhall, quite honestly, because they use them up there quite well.
Where's that located?
That's the Grand Haven town, or not the Grand Haven, the Ludington Park up there, the new one that they built on the what is it, Ludington Township, Hamlet, not Hamlet. One right on the river, as you're taking Old 31 up.
Yeah, no, I can't think of it either.
It's on the left-hand side, they took all that property there and they put in boat launch, picnic shelter, fish cleaning station, and the big bathroom there. I'm not sure if that was you guys or not, but I like that one a lot better than quite honestly.
Yeah, so we use Century A&E. It's an architecture firm in Grand Rapids to do a lot of the vertical construction type design. So we did all the site design, did the master layout of the park area, and then we use Century to develop the architectural and the electrical drawings for the lights and all that kind of stuff. So, like I said, we could render this so you can see what it looks like in color, if that's helpful. Again, I like to do stuff like that because I mentor a lot of young engineers that our job is to make sure that our expectations for the project are the same as yours. And if we don't know that they're different, when we're done, someone's not going to be happy, and it's probably going to be you. And that's what we don't want to have happen. So if doing a rendering is going to give you a clear picture of what it's going to look like, then we would want to do that so that you see exactly what you're getting.
I think you got three of us here that don't particularly care for a flat roof.
Yeah, I'd rather see you guys
see-
render something like this down there, quite honestly. Yeah, I like the looks of that, and even, like I said, it's in the marina area, I would go with probably a blue roof, just to match the blue roof of the, but I like that look of that, it's a lot better.
Okay, wait, now, can we, before we go there, I haven't heard everybody's thoughts on whether the bathroom is back, because at last meeting it was gone.
It was gone, but I didn't realize, the other thing I didn't
Understand where
realize
you're
is that there's
coming from.
storage in there.
Understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, that makes a big
I'm
difference.
just saying, I haven't heard from everybody. I haven't heard that we're on the let's build a bathroom
Yeah.
again.
I did hear some folks saying that there were lines in the summer. I myself have not seen them, but I certainly believe people when they tell me that.
I think we all jumped back when we realized that what was our simple solution, which was just fix the Goodrich bathrooms, was not simple. It was as expensive almost and didn't solve all the problems. So it's like, well, let's take a step back and go with what's already planned. And so,
Yeah, we hear the same things from Public Works staff, that they thought this restroom and storage area was very important.
which is the people that have to take care of it all the time.
I I really wish I was here when this was all discussed to begin with, because I'm not, I probably wouldn't be on board with all this.
It wasn't discussed, Roger.
Yeah.
It was.
These were all approved, these were all, this whole system was approved.
So it was discussed and approved before I got here.
Yeah.
Not
But
by the
not-
council.
No, not by council.
Not by
Right,
council.
we didn't know about it.
Yeah.
No, all of a sudden it just
That's
magically appeared.
Tifa.
Yeah, Tifa. So, we don't.
Thanks, Tiff.
And I don't know if I'm reading this correctly, but it looks like each of the 8-foot terraces are 10 feet different in height. And
No.
10 feet? It's not
What
even,
am I-
that would make it 40 feet tall down there.
I wouldn't think so, but what am I seeing?
That doesn't seem.
They're probably
I think in
3 foot,
3D,
3 foot
like
drop per, would be my guess.
Will.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2 or 3, yeah, somewhere between 2 and 3 would be my guess. From your knee to your ankle, from your knee to your body. I'm sure it's in the plan.
It is 3, 1, 2, 5, 9, 7, 2, 5. It's 1 foot 9 inches, because it lists that here with each step where the cement is and the space between.
That's just about 2 feet.
Yeah, so we're typical.
Okay, so
Yep.
this is one step.
This is
And then the
this-
second
and
step
then-
up.
Well, this is the flat area between the steps, so this is the step. This is-
Oh, it's just at the ends.
Yeah, so this will come up and it's flat and then comes up, so it's, but it's longer here, so this will be the space where you, this is the step, that's the area, so those are the steps. It's like page,
Yeah, it's just less than 2 feet, yeah.
yeah, page 5.
So is this
This is that's the sale. So this is the, I well.
So it's not.
So you wouldn't be on board with it, you
That's-
wouldn't have approved it.
What's that?
You said you wouldn't have approved it. What were you?
I just think
That's
it's
the problem. This was done at Tiff and council.
and it's
We never had anything.
conducive to what this, the location is, to me, is not conducive to an amphitheater, having been involved in an amphitheater. I'm thinking people want flat spaces to be able to put their stuff out. And if we're gonna create more park space, why are we creating a space that's really gonna be limited purpose? That we don't have who's going to bring in concerts? Are there gonna be any concerts? How does this all operate? We're setting staff up to do something that we would need more staff for. It's not just a park. We're setting this up for a single purpose, and
I disagree, because there's game tables there are cornhole tables, or cornhole boards there. I have a list of other things that I would like to see with chess and checker tables. Some other things where people could actually gather and play games and do some other stuff. And that if it was used for, if somebody wants to go down there, just like when you go to Hart, you go get a taco at the taco place there, you go down to Hart Commons, you sit down on this, same thing, and you just look at the lake and you just eat your lunch there. I mean, they don't have, they've got tables around it and everything else. I'm trying to find a picture of it, but essentially that's what that is. It's the same thing. It's promenade or commons. I mean, they got the same thing in Hart, and they don't have. People want to go down there and play. They go down there and play. You know.
I think Roger was talking more about the usefulness of the stage area.
no, of the terrace,
No.
of the terrace levels. Well, they're
It's all seating. I mean, people can go down there, sit and watch the sunset, or It's not gonna be dark enough to watch Northern Lights, but, I mean, people go down there and sit, I mean, they're all sittable space, I mean, and that's what theirs is, the same thing, I mean, we're trying to sit them.
We've got about 2 minutes before we have to cut off for public comment.
So flat stage area, not raised, bathrooms back, potentially a peaked roof. Maybe some dressing area on the other bathroom that's part of a different project.
And that other discussion with that, again, I would talk to Fisherman's Trust. We haven't done anything and picked them in a long, long time. They're all about fishing in the lakes and everything else. Great Lakes Fisherman's Trust is what it's called. I would talk to them about doing the bathrooms and stuff like that, and maybe we can get a grant to do that because fishermen are involved down there. I mean, they would probably, we write a grant, it would probably go to fix that. It would cost us a dime at Goodrich, so.
So is there, like, going forward for design, like, all right, we're under contract for construction, so I appreciate you, stating that for staff, it's just we're under contract, so, we wanna see this vision through before 4th of July, hopefully.
Yeah.
And before the Maritime Festival.
I'm for bringing the bathroom back, but not that bathroom. It's ugly. And the stage, as far as I'm concerned, we can do the flat like we discussed. From my opinion, the flat, I mean, people can set up down there however they want to set up. Again, I just want to make sure that all the electronics and the plugs and plays and all that stuff are down there and available to
But
make
does
sure it
that
works.
mean though, I mean, it sounds like we're still, because plugs and plays, I mean, to Roger's point, we have a theater and we have a band shell in Montague, so for,
We are Montague.
I understand that, but we don't wanna be competing with everything, and plug and play and screens and all of that kind of stuff, I'm not sure, is that part of what when you say plug and play and?
No, I want places the guys can plug their mics into and
Oh,
some
so
power
electrical.
for stuff. Electrical.
Electrical,
Yeah,
okay. That's-
essentially, yes.
So during the next session, can we have a motion to bring that back, bring whatever portions council wants to see back on? Because
So specifically a motion for the bathrooms and then a flat stage area with
Electrical.
a
stage area, raised or
Well,
not raised?
not
Flat.
not
Flat.
raised.
Flat.
Continue
not a
the
stage
plaza.
area.
Ground level.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of the word.
Like the drawing that you
Not
had.
an entertainment
So,
area.
Performance area.
Ground level.
no stage, nothing above you either, no shade.
No, we.
Not
Okay.
not built into.
Not-
All right, well,
permanent.
we
Not
just put
permanent.
two different motions during the next phase, or the next meeting, and then we'll.
Okay.
Okay, so let's, we need to call for public comment. And we got a couple of minutes, about 5 minutes to do that. Is everybody sufficiently confused that you don't know what that is?
Scott's guy here, so I have no
Thoughts and opinions?
Jeff missed everything else. They couldn't hear you.
No comments at all? All right, then I guess we will adjourn this meeting for now and be back at 6 o'clock. It's 6:01, time to call the meeting to order. Please stand with me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So first thing we need to do is approve the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as it is, or do we need amendments to the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion?
You guys want to add the promenade? Are you going to make some motions?
No,
No.
we need to add it.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted and add D to, should be, I don't know, old business or new business? I think old business.
Whole business.
Old business A, promenade.
Second.
Do we need to withdraw that first motion?
Just a
We didn't
minute.
get very far. Let's
Yeah,
just go.
no, I just did it.
All right, so, this will be a voice vote. So, all in favor of approving the amended agenda, say yes.
Yes.
And that motion is passed. Opposed? Okay, that is passed. Next up is the consent agenda. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion on that?
Other than, revenue reports or whatever being very busy.
My
And
wife.
probably not real easy for common people to understand. That'd be the only comment I would have.
Okay, real easy or simple way, I won't say easy, but, the, revenue expenditure report for the city was, part of this package. It's 39 pages, so we didn't print too many of them. But if you go down the right side of percent of budget used, for revenue, that's how much we've collected, percentage-wise of what we expected. So we budgeted for X amount, and so far we've retrieved that amount. And then similar to the expenditures, where percentage used should be, let's see, what are we in the 5th month? Should be,
Roughly 50.
So we should be close to 50%.
yeah, it should be close to 50%. And the ones that are seen really out of whack, they're fringe benefits typically, that there's just no natural place for them in that portion of the budget. So it'll be reconciled later. Because if it's budgeted 0 and then we spent 10,000, you know, it's a lot of percentage over budget. It's just a holdover accounting.
That was a question I had. Why is it that the
Bulk entries.
pardon me,
Bulk entries.
bulk increase? Okay. Any other discussion on that?
It's a lot, I understand that, but want to make sure everyone's seeing kind of what we deal with day to day.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I really appreciate the report. I am a little bit bogged down in the weeds there, but I appreciate seeing all those details and certainly will do a little more digesting as it goes. So I don't really have any questions, but I probably will come back and maybe talk to Crystal just about some of the, what are the details, what do they mean, just because I don't understand it.
Yeah, usually,
Not
if it-
that there's something wrong, it's not something I understand.
yeah, percentage use is a quick way to just run down.
I did have a question concerning, I didn't mark which page it's on.
Want to go through each item?
That's not.
I don't think so. Oh, here it is. It was on page 12 of 40, and it's on building rental. That's under, that was under.
So,
It was under the motor pool.
yes. So,
There's $16,000, I believe. What is that for? It's under revenues.
God, it makes no sense to me personally, but it's an accounting thing where you need to account for how much time you use a piece of equipment. Specific, like in this instance, it's how much time did the motor pool use the garage, and there's a charge for it. And it's a way of accounting and depreciating all your assets.
So it's kind of like what, over my years, I hate it too, but using the brush or the chipper costs us, granted we own it and everything else, but it costs us X amount of dollars out of the budget for every hour that's used. It's a charge for the vehicles. I don't like it either, but it's according to Patrick from its normal accounting practices is what I've been told.
But this is the building rental.
Every piece of equipment needs to be accounted for. And sometimes it's a building. And even like Playhouse, it's depreciating even though property values go up. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to the layperson, but it's an accounting practice that is just normal to them.
That's the blue building out here, correct?
That one's Baldwin. You're talking about over here?
Yeah.
No, well,
Or is that wrong?
it could be the DPW garage. If it's in the,
Motor pool, whichever it is.
I'm looking at the wrong page, I'm sorry.
You're talking about the one in administration column, right?
I'm sorry.
I think this is the 60.
I misspoke. It's under winter maintenance.
Yeah, so that's gonna be where the plows are kept. That's why we would be at DPW. It's ridiculous.
Talk to Crystal.
Come in and she'll give you an education
I asked the
on
same thing
accounting.
of Plant Moran.
Because I don't see that listed anywhere else. I guess I just.
Look at traffic services, equipment rental.
The one up above, 19.5, building rental under traffic, just the section right up above the $16,000 one, it's the same thing for 19.5.
We own that equipment,
Oh,
but
okay.
we've gotta allocate.
Some
Yeah.
sort of accounting allocation.
Okay.
Our budget's fine.
I did spend a lot of time with that, and I thought I understood most of it, but apparently not. Anyway, I do appreciate all that detail, like Debbie was saying, because in the past, we didn't have enough.
And I'll see if I can make an easier version for everyone to just kind of look at, but with local government accounting, it's not as clean as everyone would like it to be.
Any other discussion? All right. And we need a voice vote. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. We'll go on to messages. Dan, would you like to start?
Most of my comments were for the work session, but there are just a few personnel items. We have 2 members leaving this week. Brian Armstrong's retiring, and and Brooke is taking another employment opportunity in the city. So Brian is going to be replaced by Don Bond, and I'm consolidating duties for treasurer, so I'm going to hold off on hiring anybody for the interim. But personnel, that's it.
How about then, start with Tanya?
I have one thing, and it's really important. It's something I've mentioned before, but I have been, as part of my work, co-leading a PFAS task force for Muskegon County. PFAS is a group of 15,000 chemicals. It's in things like nonstick. It's a huge emerging issue, and Muskegon County has 19 sites, and that's probably because of all of our manufacturing sites, plating, foundry, different things like that. And so with Dr. Rick Radisky, who's a PFAS, he calls himself the PFAS professor. I've known him forever. He did some work on White Lake. He and I set up this task force, and we have invited every single municipality that has a PFAS site. We've invited different interest groups, and this we've done this all year, and we also just got funding from the Community Foundation to develop a program to provide some free PFAS screening test kits for people. If you're in the study area for a site, you'll get it paid by the state, but if you're not, you have to pay for it by yourself. And we found some folks outside, so we have some money, and we're gonna develop a pilot project to give them to people in some of these areas where people may not feel they can afford the $75 fee for that. But then actually once they are a PFAS, they find it in their drinking water, that actually would help the state say, oh, this plume is spreading. So it's a growing issue, and I wanted you to be aware of it. And we have our last meeting, which is virtual, December 11th at 6 this Thursday. And I would really like a City of Whitehall representative. I have invited, I think we got lost with the transition, but I would like to have somebody either from DPW or someone like Dan, who has nothing to do, attend these meetings. This was the last one of the year, and we're gonna keep on next year. But we have one, which is our Muskegon Coke Chemical site on Warner. We have, these two are in the township, but they affect us, White Lake Landfill. And there's a notice that they just had an exceedance of the criteria for PFAS. And so they're gonna be doing a work plan there. And then the wastewater site is also a piece. So those are two in the township, but it's probably something we need to have a larger role in. And so, and this is also open to the public as well. It's a big issue. We also have a proposal in for funding to work with growers, because different materials you can use on your farm can have PFAS in them, and it can cause some problems on your farm and get into the food. So it's a big deal, and if you are interested in participating, just let me know too.
All right, Roger?
I saw Brian earlier this week, but I would like to take this opportunity to publicly thank him for his years and years of service. He was a great guy, a lot of fun to hang with, even though he doesn't like to hang with anybody else. And so, congratulations, Brian, if you're listening, which you probably are. And then I would ask the council, excuse me for December 23rd, as I will be out of town.
Motion to approve the
Excuse.
absence, excusal, whatever. Motion to excuse Roger from the December 23rd meeting.
Support.
All in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed?
Thank you.
Next one.
Anything else, Roger?
So,
That's it.
I just didn't know where it was.
Debbie?
Nothing for me?
Okay, how about you?
I have two. One, I would also, like Roger, want to skip the 23rd. Formally not be here. Is that a better way of saying it? Anyway, I need to miss the 23rd also.
I'll make a motion to excuse Brian and me.
Is there a second one that you were gonna miss?
Yes, but it's February.
That's okay, we can still
You
do
can
it.
do it now.
Uno momento, por favor. February 10th. Also.
You're gonna do it now? You're not gonna include that one in your motion? Oh, that's
Oh.
tough.
Oh, yes.
It's hard.
I include that.
I just got slapped.
Second.
All in favor of excusing those absences? Say yes.
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 Opposed? All right.
The second, my positive thing is, with all the snow we got, which is a little bit more than typical, I thought the city did a great job getting everything out really fast. And then the parade was wonderful, everything looked great for that. So all the city workers did a phenomenal job for that.
Scott?
I'm probably gonna steal one of Jeff's.
You're within striking distance.
Do we have a more formal deer count?
3 more were taken at, where was it? Oh, Funnel Field.
No kidding.
Yes,
Wow, cool.
that's the latest report, so.
That's a hot
So
spot.
that's what? 7? No,
8.
8.
We're up to 8.
Get there. Could've got one in my backyard last year.
The other thing is I just wanna say that being out plowing when it snows, I have noticed the new city snow blower out running around a lot. And they've been doing an excellent job of opening up the sidewalks also. So I'd like, those guys need a kudos for, and you for
All
giving them
being
the
done.
opportunity to be able to do it.
I understand
Thanks,
you
Martin.
enjoy taking that out.
It's probably fun.
It's needed.
That's all I have.
All right, Jeff?
I just was curious if we made any movement on the committee for the church property at Division and Spring. I don't wanna let that die. I don't know if anybody's done anything with that, or if it needs to be done before it gets, like I said, before it gets bought up, it disappears. And I'm assuming,
Did you ask me to do something?
yeah, I thought at that meeting, we discussed that you were gonna contact some people about forming a committee to look at that property and see where it's a feasibility study maybe, feasibility something. Yeah,
Feasibility study?
see whether it's worthwhile to get and put some of the seniors on it, and see if it's something that the community would support. And
I will do it, but I thought it was just a casual discussion.
I thought it was just Danny was gonna potentially bring some names to you for the committee. I didn't understand that you had to run a meeting or run a committee.
no, I thought she would do,
Just the
being
people.
she has the seniors in the palm of her hand, that she could talk to them and see if that's, maybe find some people that would be willing to look at that. But,
Okay, now I remember I said I would chat with someone.
yes,
I have a question.
yes, sir,
Does that happen to be in the Tifa district?
absolutely.
Okay.
I see the wheels turning.
Well, I think, you were kind of leaning towards, the city purchasing it.
No, I don't think we need to purchase it. I think that the church would maintain it, but,
I mean,
We-
you're talking a lot of money.
well,
But if Tifa's involved in it,
absolutely.
Tifa always seems to have money that they don't know how to spend and they waste it on all kinds of things.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the first thing that, when Deb and I discussed it, is this actually in the Tifa district? And I went and looked, and absolutely it is in the Tifa district. And I talked to Brian Armstrong about it as well. He's told me the same thing, that yes, it is.
I'd much rather see Tifa buy a building.
Well, I don't think,
Or buy a building or rent a building or
Exactly.
help fund it or whatever, than build another park.
I think there was talk of leasing it.
Somebody needs to get a hold of Pastor Tim and over there, and, because I'm sure he wants to sit on that, and his wife maybe, but at least get the dialogue going and see where we can go with it. Like I said, if it's even feasible or will work, but I'm looking at, we discussed the 24,000 for the Meals on Wheels for the community.
2,400.
Yeah.
2,445.
Well, it was feed 20. It was more like 28.
They had more, yeah.
Yeah. So again, my thought is when we discussed it is that thing has a licensed or licensable commercial kitchen in it, which would help with that as well. So, like I said, I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't going to die on the vine.
I wasn't sure. I mean, I think I said I would chat with some folks. Jeff, can you connect me with Pastor?
Pastor Tim over.
Yeah.
I can see if I can get over him again.
Maybe they could set up a time where whoever can.
Yeah, that's my thought. I mean,
look at it.
Absolutely. See if it's, like I said, it might not work, but again, it might work, and I'd really hate to see if it does work, a wonderful place like that disappear where we don't have access to it when we got one in Montague, that the senior center in Montague needs so much work, and it's so small. And
I think you asked. I think you said that Christy was interested.
Christy was interested, absolutely. Yep. Pastor Tim, his wife, was interested. So. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
It's slowly coming back to me. I'll get to work.
It's the holiday season, so everybody kind of gets scrambled up anyways. But like I said, I just don't want to die on the vine. So that's all I have, sir.
Okay. And for me, I'd also like to congratulate Brian on his retirement. And is he left the building yet?
Thursday's his last day.
Which day?
Thursday.
Thursday, okay. I didn't want him to, I've got one other thing I wanted to comment. I did talk with both Brian and with Dan, ask questions about trees, because I've had some residents express concern about dead trees that look like they're gonna come down at some point. And bring some utility lines with them and ask the questions about, well, whose responsibility and so on, and, because, it could be dangerous if they come down when the car's coming along. Well, anyway, this afternoon I was reading in the White Lake Mirror, and apparently on November 26th, our police department had to make 2 calls to accidents where trees fell on cars in motion. And so I'd just like to bring that up and make sure that we try and have make that a priority to take care of these trees that potentially can come down.
We had hundreds of trees come down in that storm. I mean, it's the nature of being a tree city for 31 years until 2022. I understand that, but yeah, we had arborists and some other people go through. I think consumers looks at the trees and I think they've got somebody that comes through and looks. I agree with you that we need to.
And Brian expressed not knowing completely if it's consumers' power or if it's us or whoever, and one of them is a very large tree. You may need a crane to get it down safely. So I don't know who's that going to be.
If it's brought to our attention, I will contact the person, take a look.
Okay.
And if it's dead and leaning, then it's creating a hazard. And
right.
We can give them a time period to remove it. And if they don't comply, we'll remove it and put the cost on the taxes. But prefer to educate, say, hey, this tree's a hazard, and I'm putting you on notice. Hopefully that'll just spur the right decision. I'm dealing with it right now.
Yeah.
You're talking about trees that are on city right away?
Well, trees that are that may be on city residence.
You're not sure if they're on city right away or
On
not?
city right away.
Yeah,
There's a very large, very dead, rotten tree on Mears, which appears to be right on the city line, property line. But I don't know.
Yeah, people.
Make me aware.
People should contact City Hall, not council members, as far as that.
Well, they've contacted Brian in the past.
Okay. You should call City Hall and talk to him.
Tom,
Debbie, you and I talked about this. So according to the ordinance that we passed that includes how consumers are supposed to deal with our, with cutting. Jeff, you were on,
We did, yeah, we discussed it, but I don't,
we have an ordinance.
we
We
haven't
have an ordinance, they are required to have a permit, which has not been in practice for years. And then also, we're supposed to have a tree plan as far as that ordinance. And I think Debbie and I talked about that, and we're supposed to have one every year. Yeah.
I remember you talking about the tree plan.
Plant a tree?
no tree ordinance,
Tree
or
plan.
the tree.
Oh, a tree
Tree
plan.
plan, but then also we do have an ordinance that we realize that we can't make consumers,
Not
trim
shave the side of a tree.
trim the trees the way we want them to, but there are some things we can do and we put them in that ordinance, but we're not doing
If I remember right, they're supposed to, when they come and do the trees, they're supposed to have city staff review what they're gonna do along with
it.
that.
There's a permit,
I think so.
permit process.
All right, we're at a time for public comment. Anybody got something to say?
That guy.
Kim Stevens, Muskegon County Commissioner for the District 1. I'd just like to share this with you. It's a press release that, holy smokes, maybe hot today. Press release on the Muskegon County Airport. It was released on December 5th. Denver Air Connection, which is our carrier there, and the Muskegon County Airport are excited to announce the expanding of daily service to Chicago O'Hare International Airport with an addition of 12 more weekly flights beginning January 2nd, 2026. Denver Air has increased its presence on the West Michigan Lakeshore and ushers in a new era of unprecedented commercial jet service frequency to Muskegon, offering morning, afternoon, and evening departures and arrivals. The additional flights are designed to further strengthen schedule reliability, improve connection opportunities for Muskegon travelers at Chicago with Denver Air's partners United, American, and Delta Airlines, and provide Chicago travelers with more flexible flight times. This is a major improvement for travelers and the overall connectivity of the West Michigan Lakeshore region, said Muskegon County Airport Ken Efting, Director Ken Efting. Increased flight frequency means more flexibility and options for leisure and business travelers alike, as well as more dependable experience for anyone flying in or out of Muskegon.
And how much is parking?
Free parking. Oh, free parking. I forgot that.
How much is the flight to Chicago?
I don't remember.
Is it 69?
89, 69.
It's not much.
I don't remember.
Do they fly into
It's reasonable though.
Do they fly into O'Hare or Midway?
I think they go to O'Hare. Yeah.
And again, Ken Efting, Whitehall one.
Anybody else have a comment? All right. So we're gonna move on to old business, which gets us to the promenade again. What's that? Oh, so what are the motions that we need?
Yeah, I request somebody make a motion to make a decision on the bathroom and the shade staff.
I would like to make a motion to bring the bathroom project back into the Colby Promenade and angled roof.
Second.
Perfect.
Make better than
Completely
structure.
confident in the way I stated that.
As I am seconding
All right.
with certainty.
All in favor of,
Discussion.
Is there any discussion?
is there any discussion?
I'm happy with it if, like I said, the photo that's been forwarded to Brian and Newhoff, and it's not the one that they had to design. Whoever designed it, kind of looks like the one in the other part, but, yeah, I'm for that, so.
Do we have to have a pending approval of the picture?
No.
Just a concept.
Okay, it's concept, okay.
I'm just gonna throw out there right now, before we even vote on the first one, that I'm gonna be voting no on both of them, just because I do not think the city needs another park. I had nothing to do with this being selected as being a park some 20, 25 years ago. So I will be voting no.
This needs to be a roll call, I think.
Okay, Mayhew,
Yes.
Hillebrand,
Yes.
Squires,
Yes.
Cavallo,
Yes.
Holmstrom,
Yes.
Brown,
No.
Zemer,
Yes. All right. And then on to that second motion.
Yeah, the shade sail area.
or is it the flats?
I'll
Or
make a
is it
flat,
motion
flat?
that the stage area is flat ground level, is that what we said? Ground level, no shade sail, but there's some sort of covering that's movable, like the one on the splash pad. Question.
Does that make sense?
He's shaking his head
I
up
think
and
that
down.
was what we talked about.
Okay, yeah, we'll
I believe
review
that's-
options, less expensive options than the
Then I will second.
one that's on the bid.
Without the infrastructure piece, that's, okay. Is that sufficient?
Yes.
That's the motion.
All right, a roll call.
Hillebrand,
Yes.
Mahan,
Yes.
Brown,
No.
Holmstrom,
Yes.
Cavallo,
Yes.
Squires,
Yes.
and Zemer.
Yes. Okay. There were only those two.
For
I
old
believe,
business.
motions, yeah, okay. So then we have to, move on to new business. And resolution 2540, authorized signatures for, do they pronounce that MERS? Just say MERS?
MERS.
Okay.
I will move that we approve resolution 2540, authorized signatories for MERS.
Support.
Discussion?
Someone just do a real quick explain that?
It's a, just authorization for me to be able to sign, MERS documents. It's really administrative, but need permission.
Do people out here know what MERS is?
It's the Municipal Employees Retirement System, so it's the, where all of our retirement funds go that are city employees.
Okay.
Hillebrand,
Yes.
Squires,
Yes.
Cavallo,
Yes.
Holmstrom,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Mahan,
Yes.
Zemer.
Yes. So that motion passes, resolution passes. Next thing is resolution 2541.
No, that
Yeah.
would be.
MERS participation.
Okay, sorry about that.
I'll make a motion to approve the MERS 457 participation agreement and the MERS Health Care Savings Program participation agreement. There you go.
Second.
Discussion?
Oh, one item. So this particular one is enabling 457 Roth. Before Roth contributions weren't allowed just by our plan, we're reinstating them so post-tax income can be put into a Roth.
That it? This would be a roll call too?
Will you do that? Holmstrom,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Mahan,
Yes.
Hillebrand,
Yes.
Squires,
Yes.
Cavallo,
Yes.
Zemer.
Yes. So that passes. Next up is resolution 2541. It's a lot split.
Seems to be a lot of confusion.
I'll, because I'm sure people are gonna ask questions, I'll move resolution 2505, the relot split of 1300 Delaney Drive.
Second.
Discussion?
For everyone listening, we tried selling 28 acres to Erickson's so they can build commercial property in the industrial park. And come to find out, the 10 acres that we sold to the fire authority for $1 split in 2020, and 4 acres remained our property. For some reason, in 2022, they were recombined. Nobody knows why. this is the second step in 3 steps that I need to do to get this lot spoken, so I can sell this property.
So we're re-splitting them.
That's all it is.
Re-split, okay.
Yeah, that's what we said.
Doing the same thing we did in 2020.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be recorded this time.
It all got recorded and then they somehow,
Yeah.
Recording got
they
lost.
split it and then they put it back.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Nope. Long gone, retired.
No further discussion, roll call on this?
Yes, Holmstrom,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Mahan,
Yes.
Hillebrand,
Yes,
Squires,
Yes.
Kabala,
Yes.
Zemer.
Yes. Resolution 2541 is approved. Next up is public comment. Anybody got anything to say at this point? It looks like there isn't any. So with that, I will say I hope everybody's having a wonderful Christmas so far, and I guess meeting adjourned.